Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
When I was in the 5th grade, our teacher gave us a really cool assignment. She had printed out for us this form where we made like a little mini poster. We put a baby picture on it. We put our school picture from that year. We put our name. We put where we'd been born. We put down the things that we liked, the books we were reading, things like that. And then it also had this section where we were supposed to write down what our dreams and goals for our future were. I'm Julie Lyles-Carr. You're listening to God on the Go, part of the Purposely Podcast Network, and we want to help you make the minutes matter. I still have that piece of paper, and I look at it every now and then because it's pretty amazing. There were some things on there that kind of make me laugh, and there were some things that actually did happen. I did want to write books. I did want to be able to teach. I also wanted to be able to deliver babies. Now, I meant it as being a doctor. Ultimately, I have had a lot of babies, and so I guess in that way that I have delivered babies for sure. But there are also some things on there that through the years didn't happen, or I had a change of heart, or were no longer a goal for me. I think goal setting, having big dreams, it's all really amazing and fun. It gives us something to aim for. And certainly God gives us certain gifts and talents that He wants us to use in a variety of ways. But sometimes the way in which God chooses to use our life story is a lot different than we might have expected. We've been going through a series on people who often aren't in the spotlight in the Bible. Maybe their names are in there and just a little mention, a little short passage, but we don't really know necessarily a whole lot about them. What we do know is that their lives have made a huge difference in our faith. Everything from Tychicus being the bridge that helped connect people and helped connect them to Paul when the church was still so young, to Joanna, who was a messenger, to Epaphras, who we talked about, who was a wrestler in prayer. Well, today I want to tell you about a guy who has just a tiny mention in the Bible, and yet the reason that he's mentioned in the Bible was probably not anything that he ever thought was going to be part of his career. His name is Quirinius, and he was a Roman official who was well known in the area at the time because of all of the military stuff he had done and all of the politics and all kinds of things. Now, if I was Quirinius and I was filling out that 5th grade sheet, his sheet probably would have said something like, I want to be a world famous general and I want to take over major areas for Rome and I want to be known as famous and as a leader in Rome. I want my name to be known throughout the ages for everything that I've done for Rome. Now, Rome at the time was the leading world power. And they were over all of the Bible lands and all of the places that we read about. Their reach was huge. If you wanted to be famous in Quirinius's day and age, being something important in Rome was the way that you did it. And Quirinius had all those things. He had a really important marriage. He had really important things that he did in his career when he was in the military and when he was in government. And yet, the reason we actually know his name today is because of this little mention in the Bible. Here's the verse, Luke 2, verse 1. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own town to register. Do you recognize that verse? That comes from the passage in the book of Luke, the Gospel of Luke, where it is explained why Joseph took Mary, Jesus' mother, and took her to Bethlehem, where she gave birth to Jesus. Of all the things that Quirinius probably thought he was going to be known for, I think it's probably very unlikely that he thought that his name would be coming up for this young couple who was about to have this baby, but that baby, the Son of God, Jesus. That's why we know Quirinius's name, because it was during his rule that the census was taken that had Mary and Joseph travel, go to Bethlehem, and for Jesus to be born in the stable and placed in the manger. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? Here's a trivia question for you. How many countries today have a king or a queen on the throne? Are you ready? 43. 43 countries have a king or a queen on the throne. And yet, I'll tell you, I know the names of maybe one. I think that's it. There's so many things in our world today that we think we can be famous for. We see people on stage, we see people with the microphone, we see people on the news, we see people getting all kinds of attention, and we can be tempted to think that's what makes somebody's life matter. But God always has a better plan. God always has a better story. It's great. Dream your dreams. It's awesome to have goals and to think about the things you would like your life to look like. But just know that usually God has a reason and a plan that can be a little different than your own. It's one of the ways that he shows his love for us, that he takes us on a path because he knows the kind of impact, he knows the kind of story that really is the one that's going to matter most when it comes to my life and when it comes to yours. Text the word GO, that's GO, to 89419, and we'll send you some memory verses, trivia questions, discussion questions, so you can keep this conversation going. Thank you so much to George Fox University, our sponsor. At George Fox University, each student will be known personally, academically, and spiritually.